What's going on, good folks? This is my first video of future me messaging. So what I'm going to do right now is kind of work on just some fleshing out some ideas of the things that I know I need to be working on today. All right, now ideally, this is the sort of stuff that you would start at the beginning of your day to try and get yourself on the right track out the gate. As I'm taping this message, I am in the midst of my comprehensive exams for my counselor ed PhD. So I've got 5 essays I need to be working on in some degree, form, or shape every day between now and when they're actually due about a week and a half from now. That's something I have to do. So a note I would make is that I have to put in 30, 40 minutes on each essay every day between now and then. That would be kind of a goal, is to finish the comprehensive exam successfully. The intermediate objectives is the work I put in each day. Now, I've also got a few other projects going on with behavioral health care, focused on dealing with youth and with folks in recovery. There are things that I have to do that are specific to each of those programs that I'll be working on um, each day, from things like state licensing, national accrediting, LLCs, NPI numbers, Medicaid, MCO contracts. Those are the sorts of things that I'll be. I have some of these I have physical folders for. Some of them they're digital folders. It's just things I know I need to put something in each one of these buckets each day to demonstrate progress. Something else, so that's kind of that's a work example, a school example. Let me give you a relationship example. It's funny because I sit here right now with you guys and I'm Uncle Keith or I'm Yoga Keith. Some of you guys know me as a therapist, so you guys know me in a coaching relationship. Um, but I'm working on my relationships because before I was any of this, I was what I'll jokingly refer to as Grumpy Keith. And that's something I work on every day to try and be mindful of the attitude I bring into my relationships. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to share a story of the Grumpy Keith. All right. When my kids were younger, they went to Disney. I only had it was only my 2 sons and my wife. I had all these excuses for why I couldn't go. I had to work, or doing the things that a grumpy dude does. I'm working and I'm complaining about working. So they went to Disney. They got a figurine that they thought reminded them of Pops. Of all the different dwarves they could have picked, which one did they pick? You got it, Grumpy. All right, so they came back with this Grumpy figurine. I was kind of mad about it. Of course, I'm a grumpy ass. But it also felt kind of funny because it was at least I could acknowledge it was an accurate reflection of who I was. And then over the course of several years, I started down this path with yoga. I started trying to work on how I interact with people, going from being the kind of person that you would probably dread having to have a disagreement with. Because not only was I going to be quite competent at arguing my position, I was probably going to cuss you out in the process and make you feel like you're about that tall. It ain't hard to figure out how I burned a lot of friendship bridges with behavior like that. But I've put in the effort to try and actually become different. All right. So fast forward, I got several years of Yoga Keith under my belt. I'm thinking I'm good. I'm rocking and rolling with this stuff, and everybody around me can see the difference, right? We're sitting at the house, a bunch of family around. We're playing this card game. I don't even remember the name of the card game. Maybe somebody drop it in the comments if you know what game I'm talking about. But basically, you get one card that's different from the card everybody else gets, and you have to guess what they're acting out in their process. Now I'm here. It's my wife, my father-in-law, his fiance, now wife, my kids, their significant others, brother-in-law, his girlfriend, and as I'm going around the room, because I got the card, I got to guess what everybody else is doing. I'm looking around the room, and each person is being, some version of an asshole, rude. I'm working on all these different permutations of how to say, unlikable person, you know, somebody who you don't want to spend any time with. It's a big dining room, so there's a lot of folks here. I didn't basically work the room. I didn't put in every guess I possibly could about what it is. I'm trying to guess. I'm stumped on this one though. I've done every version of asshole I can think of as the answer. None of it was right. Then the card everybody else had was act like the person who doesn't have the card. Oh man, let me tell you, I was crushed. I'm sitting at my table in my house, and everybody was doing these were perfect assholes. They were. But everybody was being what they considered to be an example of my behavior. The moral that I walked away with is that even though I thought I had put in enough time to heal the perceptions I had created of me, it hadn't happened. It was still a work in progress. There's a country music song, ironically, I like. A dude named Travis Meadows. He has a song called Unfinished Business, and he says his regrets are only half the size of the shadows that they cast. And that's what I felt like in that moment. I'm sitting here in the shadows of who I used to be. And that hurt. I'm literally trying not to cry at my dining room table because I don't want anybody to see how much it hurt that was their best example of being me. Now, why do I bring that up? It's still something I'm working on years later. So when I say these are the things that you need to be working on so that the future version of you is appreciative, is thankful of the work you put in. I'm appreciative. I'm thankful of the work I've put in over the years, not to be an angry asshole that people don't want to spend time with, who people hate to see coming, who people don't feel like they can talk to, because a lot of times in life, when you create those sorts of narratives in people's head about who you are, they might not speak them out loud, but they damn sure interact with you from that position. So it's not just about changing who you are to improve and to make you a better version of yourself down the road. Sometimes the efforts you put in today have ripple effects. It's funny, in kind of a space of cosmic irony, I was taking the grumpy porcelain figure down off the shelf to share this story with somebody. And in the process of trying to get it down, it had moved from the top of that desk in my office for years. So I'm thinking it's a solid figurine. It's not. I picked it up, I tipped it over, it fell out, and grumpy shattered. Okay. My wife was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." She was immediately worried I was going to trip. I went, "You know what? Nah, maybe it was finally time for Grumpy to go." So, you look for the symbolism along your life's journey. So those are the sorts of things I mean. With work, even though I sit here saying, as I did, that I'm in the process of doing my comprehensive exams. 2 years ago, I was talking with a colleague about should I apply to go to graduate school. So here I am now in this weird place of trying to do 2 PhDs at the same time. How's that for progress from not in school at all in your 50s to on your way to a double doc life? But you got to put in the work. You got to put in the effort, and not grudgingly. You got to do it pleasantly engaged and cheerfully involved, as the Jack and Jill folks like to say. You got to have a peachy attitude. All right? I want you to have a peachy attitude about the work you put in to make a better version of you. You're worth the effort. We need the effort. Your community, your family, your friends will all benefit from it, but most of all, you will. It's worth doing. So maybe one day you go from being a grumpy Keith to an Uncle Keith yourself. As always, I offer this with love.